On those transmission networks and so on, those sceptical of the target would point to, and do point to, Europe, Germany and others that are having to backtrack on ambitious goals.
The big difference, I would say, Europe does not have access to renewable energy the way Australia does. They do not have the amount of sunshine, wind or space that we have. So we are absolutely well positioned to be leaders here. They are envious of our opportunity. So I do think this is where we need to go. We know cost of living is biting, and we can't address cost of living if we don't address climate impacts, because fuel, food, insurance, all of these aspects of cost of living are impacted by climate events.
Were you pleasantly surprised at the level of collaboration that you were afforded, not just you, but your counterparts on the crossbench? And today we saw a number of amendments agreed to by the government.
Oh, absolutely, and could I say a lot of work went into that. Obviously that's been a very detailed process over the last 3 weeks, since seeing the first draft to then the bill that was tabled to then amendments that were moved today. There has been a lot of work and meetings and discussions around each one's position, and I think it shows a whole group of independents can work well collectively, sensibly. There was no chaos in the parliament. We weren't creating, it wasn't too difficult, and the government was incredibly receptive. And I have to say, Chris Bowen was very good in wanting to have that dialogue and wanting to make sure that the legislation was as good as it could be. And he has indicated he wants to continue working on the other legislation that needs to come.
And when you obviously represent a former Liberal seat and your counterparts, the Teal independents, represent traditional Liberal seats, your success was largely due to your response on climate, as you alluded to earlier. How do you now, this is legislated, not reinvent, but what's your focus now? You've ticked this box, where to now?
Well, it wasn't just one issue. I think the position on climate took the attention of the media maybe and was the headline issue. But my community knows I'm incredibly committed to business to ensure, and also in our transition on climate, that it's a sensible transition, that this isn't we have to do this fiscally responsibly with good investment, making sure communities all move along. So there is that trust, I think, in the mandate from my community to make sure I am working for good opportunities around innovation, research and development, so that business prospers. I think Warringah is an electorate of strong business ethics, and they want to see those priorities. So it's ticking off legislating climate does not deal with climate. We have to maintain vigilance that the government is delivering what it says it will deliver, and as an independent, I am well placed to continue requiring accountability of the government.
And Andrew Wilkie and the Greens went for a lot more ambition in their amendments. Why did you not back those amendments?
Well, they moved amendments to legislate 75% by 2030 and net zero by 2035. Now, the Climate Council and a number of other scientific bodies have indicated a range of emissions ambition necessary to stay to as close to 1.5, and that range is actually 60 to 75%. So I would argue I took 60% to the election because I was satisfied I had a plan that could deliver and achieve that target. I am not satisfied that there is a clear mechanism or plan on how those targets could be achieved. So I feel they are a little too ambitious and too fast, and we would leave some communities behind.
And finally, in that context, do you think that critics of the independents who link you to the Greens are misreading your approach to politics?
I think they are. Obviously, the Greens have their own mandate and their own style. I think I represent much more the sensible centre, which wants to see a planned, reasonable transition, acknowledges the seriousness of climate change and global warming, the need to transition, but the desire to do so in a fiscally responsible way.
Zali Steggall, appreciate your time. Thanks.
Thank you.